I didn't expect to be harvesting garlic today, so how did that happen? And there's still plenty we can be sowing in June, so let's get cracking. Cue those titles. Morning, so I'm back in the shed again today, and I've been going through my seed box to see what I've got which I could potentially sow now for planting out in a few weeks time, or perhaps direct sowing between the onion and garlic, which are going to be coming out. And I found quite a few things. Let's have a look. So a lot of these seeds actually came free with Gardener's World magazine. I thought I might try a row of rocket, never done that before. And also this salad bowl lettuce. I got these free seeds with DT Brown, and actually I've got quite a few packets of these. These are a carrot variety, which I think are a later or main crop one, so I thought I might give some of those a go. But with the success that I've had with the carrots in the greenhouse container, I think I might find a big container actually and sow them. I've also got a packet of Chanterelle carrots. These are they're quite small, grow like a baby carrot really, but they're quite tasty to have on the side of a roast dinner, or perhaps done with some butter and orange. And I've got a packet of pak choy, which we do use now and again in a stir fry, so I'll give that a go. I found an overwintering cauliflower, which I will get in because I do seem to be doing well with the cauliflowers as well this year. And I thought I'd try swede, which is something that we do use now and again over the winter months in stews, casseroles, or mashed with a roast. I did sow some asparagus earlier in the year, but not a single one germinated, so I'm going to give that another go. I'd like to establish a asparagus bed, although I know it will be some years before we're able to harvest anything. So I'm going to plant these and some fennel. I've never grown fennel before. It's quite tasty though. And I bought some Swiss chard. Never grown chard before, but apparently you can use the leaves a bit like spinach. So we'll give those a go as well. So the asparagus, the fennel and cauliflower I'm going to sow individually in module trays, whereas the carrots I'll find a large container for. These are the module trays that I'm going to be using. There are 12 modules per tray, and they're about an inch square. Each comes with their own drip tray, and each one also has a sort of mini propagator lid with ventilation. And I've used these for quite a few things over the winter and early spring growing season, and they do work quite well. They're particularly suited for larger seeds, which you can individually sow. I'm just using ordinary compost here for filling up the module trays, nothing fancy. It's got added perlite for drainage. I do break out the bigger lumps and just firm the compost into the modules so that there are no air gaps. And then individually sow 1 or 2 seeds into each module. Now I've got this spare 35-litre bucket which I bought for potatoes but didn't have to use. And I think I'm going to use this for carrots. Now I've put in the bottom some of the bulk buy quite coarse compost, just to fill space really, and I'm going to cover this with a good few inches, maybe 5 or 6 inches of well sifted shop bought compost, because carrots do need a nice clear run in nice fine compost to give the best roots which don't fork or blemish. So I'll get on with that. Right, I've changed my mind about the sieving, because as I've just opened this bag of compost, it is incredibly fine already. So I'm just going to tip it in. So this is Westland Jack's Magic. It says it's vegetable compost. But it's really nice and soft and fluffy actually. So hopefully we'll be all right for growing carrots. And I know some people grow them in fine sand. I don't think they need a lot of nutrient, but again, I'm willing to be corrected on that. But anyway, I'm going to sow some carrots on the surface of here. Give another fine. I mean, I've damped it down, but not compacted it. So I'll sow carrots on the surface and give another fine dusting of compost, and then I think possibly leave them in the greenhouse to germinate and then bring them out. Might try and bring them out raised somewhere to avoid the carrot root fly. There were plenty of these free carrot seeds. Now I'm just scattering, but I will thin out depending on germination to try and get some decent size roots. Not that big carrots are necessarily best carrots, but it's just that satisfaction of pulling a nice big carrot out. There. So yeah, there's a pretty even distribution of carrot seed there. I will use the sieve maybe just to put a couple of handfuls of compost on top to give them a fine coating. Oops, there goes all my seeds. Right, I've changed my mind again. I've decided that I haven't really spaced the onions and garlic far enough apart to be able to interplant without then risking pulling up all the seedlings when I do harvest the garlic and onion in a couple of weeks. So what I've done is I've weeded a little bed that we've got here. It's only got a row of strawberries in. And as actually, we had it in mind that our little lad would use it as his own garden, but he's got, about a 10-minute allotment tolerance at the moment. He's only 3. So not really using it. And I'm going to put a row each of swede, lettuce, chanterelle carrot, and Swiss charge. Now it's quite a small spot, so that might be a bit too much, but we'll see. So this is the bed I'm talking about. It's about 120 by 120 centimeters at a guess. There's just a row of strawberries, but it's quite a nice tilth. I've just weeded it through. I'll pull those other bits of green out now. And I reckon I'll get 4 rows of something in there. So let's give that a go. So I'm just going to use the straight edge of the rake there to make sort of 4 furrows in the soil. Now, can I get close to these strawberries? Maybe I can if I put the carrots here, because they're only going to be quite small. Right, so Royal Chantenay carrots. Just going to thinly sow along this row, and I will thin out depending on germination. Next to the carrots, I'm going to put the lettuce because this is where the spacing is not so great. Then I think a row of Swiss chard, and this is the bright light variety. So add a bit of colour. Now these are quite large, so I'll try and space these pretty well. And actually, if they come up and if I like them, I can do another row when the garlic and onion does come up. And then lastly, the swede. I'm going to sow these quite thinly as well. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go and get labels for these rows, label them up, cover them over, and then water. Oh, look at that black cloud behind me. Anyway, as I'm out here, I've had a look at the runner beans, and I do see that they are yellowing quite a lot. Let's have a look. So these have been in maybe 2 weeks. There's manure on the base and there's compost on top, but still they're yellowing. So I'm not sure exactly why. I wonder if it could be nitrogen deficiency. These are French beans. So anyway, I'm going to give them a feed of liquid seaweed, which is a pretty good all-purpose plant food. Nasturtium's doing all right, although the nasturtiums like quite poor soil. Some of the tomatoes actually are also yellowing. I might just give it all, or give them all, a bit of a dose of liquid seaweed to give them a bit of a boost. Right, these are the cornflower seedlings. I planted these about 2 weeks ago in my first video. So they've come on quite well in the greenhouse, but they've all got pretty much all, anyway, have got a pair of true leaves now. So I'm going to be potting them on. And I'm going to be using these modules here. These are about 1.5 inches square, I think, something like that. Leave them in there for another 2 or 3 weeks and then they'll be good for going outside. These tools are invaluable for pricking out. There's a little dibber, double-ended, so you can have big holes or smaller ones. A little, looks like a baby shovel really, and a little fork. And actually they are all you need for pricking out seedlings. Then I use this little fork end to actually earth up the seedling without damaging its roots. And there you go. Hold it by the seed leaf always, never by the stem, because that risks damaging the stem and then your whole seedling is gone. And then just use your dibber to firm the soil around your seedling. So that's 24 potted on, which is probably enough for now, to be honest. That has thinned out the tray of the remaining seedlings a bit, so I'll let those grow on. and then perhaps pot on some more another time. It's getting to that time of year and I really want to know how the garlic's doing, so let's take a look. These are the first ones that went in October time. Oh, wow, that is a good size bulb, although I do wonder if they're ready, because that seems to be growing. That's coming up. Hi, right, so I just lifted this garlic because I noted that this individual clove had started to sprout. Quick Google search tells me that it's best to take them up now and dry them out, because the cloves, if they start to split away from the main bulb, will start to sprout, which of course we don't want, because then they won't store. So that's a pretty good bulb of garlic, I think. So I'm going to start getting some out and we'll see what we've got. And I have to say, I am pretty well pleased with that. So this is the first garlic that went in end of September, early October. And there were some pretty huge bulbs actually, but you see that one there, which has started to sprout as the clover is separated from the rest of the bulb. So they're not all that big. That one's not too bad, I have to say. This is probably one of the smallest ones, but I can feel good clove separation there. So all in all, pretty well pleased with my very first garlic harvest, having never done it before. So these will now go in the shed to cure for a few weeks until all the foliage and roots are dry. Then I'll brush them off and I'm going to attempt a garlic plat for storage. So watch this space. Thanks for joining me this morning. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.